Hello Internet, Category here, and this week I've been spending a little bit of time with Space Empires 4X from GMT Games, a renowned classic which I know I'm late to try, but let's get this to the table and I'll give you my thoughts on how this played out for me. So I've played the Doomsday Machine solo scenario a couple of times now, and it's always been quite exciting. I did win the last one. There's another solo scenario that's included in the game, and that's the Alien Empire scenario. I will probably give that a play in a day or two, but I've not tried it yet. I have played 4 or 5 games now, so I've got a rough idea of what I like and what I don't about this. And what I really do like is that it captures that 4X feeling. In the beginning, you're growing your empire, you're spreading out, you're just trying to gain some ground. Then the game changes so that you're trying to enhance your technology, build up your strength. Then you get to the point where you can start being aggressive and you can start trying to take from others and not just look after your own. It reminds me of playing Stars on my old Windows 95 PC all those years ago. So it really does get that 4X feeling down. And the fact that the map is randomly generated. So, I mean, this is looking a bit sparse now. This game is just in this area of the map. But when you begin, everything is just an upside down blank counter. And you don't know what's under there. If you need to, you've got to visit things to explore them, and they're randomly placed each time. So you don't know if you're going to find a space wreck, which if you take back to your colony, you get a random technology bonus, or you're going to find a alien world. In this case, it's a barren world, so you can only make a colony there if you've got terraforming capabilities. Or there's a lot of barren worlds here. Or is there a black hole which your ship may or may not survive? There's an asteroid field, which is fine, but it will slow down movement and it will have an effect if a combat happens there. There's all these different things that can be on the map, and you never know what's going to be where. The map is split into your homeworld area and the deep space, and every player has the same in their homeworld stack, but it will be mixed up. And deep space has much more dangerous things, much more lost in space, much more instant deaths from, if I can find one, yep, there you go, a danger counter, which will instantly wipe out whatever's in there. So you never know what's going to be where, and I really like that. And I also like the fact that it's got the technology tree. So as you progress through the game, you can buy advances to what you can build in terms of ship size, your attack power, your tactics, how effective your shipyards are. Think whether you can terraform barren planets, your exploration abilities. There are so many options to advance what you can do. And still having that 4X feeling when you're adding new pieces in. And that modularity is shown even greater in the expansions, because there's at least 2 I know of, possibly 3. I know there's another one coming out soon. It's been on P500. This game, the base game, is just the beginning of Space Empires. And one other thing I do think is a really great innovation is the Fog of War system. So, I mean, I've been playing solo, so it's not really been too much of a issue. But let's bring these little stacks down here. So for each counter, which represents a different group of a certain type of vessel, here is a cruiser, I think CA is. And here's my shipyards. And here's a battle cruiser. But all of them on the back are just a completely plain ship. And in a multiplayer game, that's how you'd see them on the board. And they would always be on top of a counter, which shows how many of that particular unit are in that stack. So this is 3 battle cruisers. If you came into contact with an enemy in a hex, then when you get to battle, you reveal it. At the end of the battle, you get back to this state. The vessels move away. You've got to try and remember what was there, what's moved away, where it could possibly be next. And I think that's a really good way of implementing Fog of War. But on the downsides of the game, what I'm going to say is the Fog of War system. I mean, I haven't used it extensively because I've been playing solo, but when all of your vessels just look like this, with a block war game, for example, you'd have your blocks facing you and your opponent's blocks facing them across the table. So you'd always be aware of what you have, even though your opponent can't see it, or shouldn't be able to see it. And with this, you'll have stacks everywhere, and you'll always be constantly checking them yourself. And you can try, you remember some of them, but it's really quite mentally taxing. And not just that, because of the technology tree, as you advance certain types of technology, you've got to keep track of what each possible stack could mean. So it's not just because you found this destroyer stack that you've also got to look, oh, this is stack 3, so DD stack 3 has got these stats because those were the things I had unlocked when I built it. You can go back to a shipyard hex to upgrade and changes to your current technology levels, but there's a constant back and forth checking, and that can be really quite taxing. And the other downside is really just the bookkeeping in general. Overall, it's a very straightforward system for counting how much your colonies produce, how much you're spending, how much your vehicles are costing you, how much you've got left over at the end of each turn, and your tech tree. It's a system that works really well, but because of the constant re-referencing, when you have one of your stacks and you go, oh, cruiser stack 3, now have they been to a shipyard since I had attack level 2 or since I had a move level 4? There's all this back and forth that it adds the flavour to the pieces of the game, but it does add a bit of an overload to how you're thinking about it. And when it comes to the Fog of War, because I'm a solo player, I've just been playing counters up. If I was playing multiplayer with other players, you will be playing counters down to hide them, and it would make it a much more appealing system. And I fully understand that. And that's why, even though this game comes with solo scenarios, I do think it is going to be much more enjoyable as a multiplayer game. Let's get back up the top for my final thoughts. So what can I say about Space Empires 4X? I mean, it's a GMT game, the components are great, the rules are well written, it's a solid game, but as a solo gamer, I can only rate this a 6 out of 10. I know I've not played both solo scenarios yet, but what is in this box is a really, really solid multiplayer game that they've added a solo mode onto to please the fans. And that's brilliant. I really commend it when people try and make games solo friendly. But this is a multiplayer game at its core. And I can imagine it being a really, really solid multiplayer game. That said, I'm a solo gamer. I don't see myself getting this back to the table very often. I will get it back and try the Alien Empire scenario once, at least once. But when I'm playing it, I think this isn't made for solo, it's made to be multiplayer. And if you have a solid gaming group who want to get that 4x experience, but on a tabletop. I've not played anything quite like this. It is spot on. But as a solo game, I kept thinking there were more engaging games I could be playing than Space Empires. It felt like, to put it in computer game terms, it felt like playing a tutorial mode before you get to the real game. That's what playing the solo felt like. I don't mean to talk down on this game, because it is really, really solid. But solo, 6 out of 10. Multiplayer, I imagine it being a 9 out of 10. As I'm mainly a solo gamer with no solid group, I don't know if I'm going to keep this. I mean, I doubt I'll have anyone to play it with in the next 4 or 5 years. I mean, it's probably just going to end up in the bottom of storage somewhere, so I may send it back to eBay and pass it on to someone else who can get some full joy out of it, as I look for another game which will fill my needs better. Now, I know this game has multiple expansions, and I have not played any of them, or own any of them. If there's 1 or 2 of them which make it a much better solo experience, let me know in the comments, and I'll see if I can find it. I hope this has been useful to you. If you play this game, drop something in the comments. I'd love to see what you think about it. But until next time, happy gaming!